What's up, real ones? Welcome back to the Relationship Podcast, where we're bringing the real back to relationships.
Yes, sir.
I'm Asha Steele.
I'm Devin Steele.
And we're so excited that you guys are tuning in today with us.
Yeah, because today's topic, we're going to be discussing competitions within relationships. Are you creating a true partnership with your partner, or are you creating a rivalry? Let's discuss.
So before we get into today's discussion, you got something you want to keep it real about?
Most definitely.
What
for
you
sure.
got? What you
got
got on your
something
mind?
to keep it real about. No, because I know later in this episode, we're going to get into the topic of, me being on Dr. Phil this past week.
Mm-hmm.
But there was something that happened at the show that I wanted to keep it real about, because the topic of the show was marriage. Is marriage dead? Like, what's going on with people's thoughts on, building a family and getting married. And I was sitting next to somebody in the crowd when I first got there, and her story came up first, and me and her got to talking. And she was telling me how marriage is a goal for her, but she doesn't know when it's going to happen, right? So sometimes it's frustrating. And I told her, I understand. I feel like most people look at marriage as a goal. Like, even though I didn't grow up, like, marriage is a goal, I want to, create a family. But I think the problem is that it is a goal for a lot of people that people just want to check off. It doesn't even matter if they're getting married to the right person. They just want to say, I got married.
Right.
They want to show their friends. They want to show their family. And I think that presents an issue, because it's easy to walk away from goals when they're hard, when they're harder than you thought they would be. So I never looked at getting married as a goal. I look at marriage as a calling. Like, I feel like you got to be called to live this type of life, because it's not easy. And everybody's not willing to do what it takes in order to have a successful relationship, have a successful marriage. When I look at you, I feel called to be your husband. It's like God himself tapped me on the shoulder and said, here, I'm giving you her. Treat her right. So there's no walking away from this, because it feels like it's easy to walk away from a goal, but it's harder to walk away from a calling. You can't walk away because it's inside of you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the truth is that a lot of people are not called to do this because they just look at it as a checkbox. They're not called to do this because they're not willing to go through that self-reflection, that self-work that it takes in order to show up in your marriage the way you need to in order for it to be a success. It's not a calling for a lot of people because they're not willing to let go of their ego. They're not willing to let go of their selfish ways. They're not willing to do marriage the way that God intended it to be. They want to do it their own way. And whenever you deviate from the way that it's supposed to be done, it's going to cause destruction. So when I look at marriage, man, I'm called to do this. There are times where I need to go through some self-development to grow. There are times I have to go and unpack my old ways of thinking in order to show up better as a husband. But man, this ain't a goal for me. This is my calling.
Yeah. I think that's powerful, because when you do have a calling, it feels like you're more passionate about it.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter how challenging it is. You understand that there's a bigger picture at hand, and you want to fulfill whatever that is. When you have a goal, like you said, it's easy when things get hard for you to say, you know what, let me kind of tweak this.
Set a new goal.
Right. Let me change up my goals because I can't obtain this goal. I've tried and it's too hard, and I'm not willing to keep trying. But when you know that you have a certain calling over your life or your position to do something, and you understand that purpose of it, you fight harder for it because you know that the true value of it, and you see how much it's going to impact not only your life but others around you. So I think looking at marriage like that is very powerful, because like you said, a lot of times people go into it not knowing what they're getting themselves into. And sometimes just going into thinking they know, and once they get into it, they realize, oh, this is a lot different than what I thought. I didn't sign up for this. But when you truly know the meaning of marriage, you truly understand how it should work, and that it's not just what our beliefs are in our mind, what we make up what it should be, but we understand the true purpose of how a marriage works, then you move differently.
Yeah. And I take it even a step further. It's not even that you'll always have passion for it, because me and you talk on this podcast constantly about how we went through our season where we didn't wake up every day passionate about being in each other's presence, passionate about being married to each other. But when you feel like you're called to actually serve the person you're in a relationship with, you'll still serve them in the days where you don't feel passionate. You'll still serve them in the days where you don't necessarily want to be around this person because y'all going through it, because you understand the purpose of your union. I know that I was meant to serve you. I know that I was meant to provide and protect for you. And the way that you show up for me, and I can't speak on you, but I know that the way that you show up for me is as if marriage was a calling for you. It was not a goal. It was not something that you just wanted to be able to tell all your friends, or I got married before I'm 30, like a lot of women are pressured to do. No, you show up in a way it's like, I know God put me in this man's life for a reason. That's how I look at you. Because you don't walk away when things get hard. You don't go set off new goals with other people or have a new goal to build another family when we were going through our seasons. It's like, no, my only goal within this relationship is to make sure that we get back on the right path. Because we lost our way for a while. So I know the power of when talking about living it, I know the power of when both people in a marriage look at it as a calling and not a goal. Because we done been through stuff that, man, most people will never experience. And I'm not saying we went through the worst things, because I know there are people who have experienced way worse stuff than us. But man, the amount of things that we had to go through in a short window when we first got married, that would have broke a lot of couples apart.
Yeah.
Because if you look at, even from the messages we get, and this is not to downplay anybody else's pain, but a lot of the issues we get, y'all can solve easily if y'all understood the principles and stuff that we talked to on this podcast, or you actually implemented the things that we taught. You can solve those problems easy. But when you go through like the type of stuff that we went through, it ain't easy, bro.
Yeah.
That is a dark place. So the fact that we're still here, we're still standing. Somebody wrote a comment on our YouTube not too long ago. And they was like, man, I remember y'all started these videos 3 years ago. Y'all still here. Congratulations. Like, I get the sentiment behind congratulations, but a lot of times we're not expecting people to be married for a long time.
Yeah.
Because it's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy that a lot of people look at marriage and say, oh, if someone's married like 5, 6, maybe 7 years, that is like such a long marriage. When marriage was designed to be a lifetime, like for better, for worse, sickness and health, till death do his part.
Yeah.
And the fact that so many people aren't able to make it that lifetime, that marriage has become...
It's like dog years.
Yeah. Like it's looked at like a huge success if you make it to the milestone of 5 years, whereas someone making it to their 50th wedding anniversary, it seems so far-fetched.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of football, right? Because when people ask, well, how long did you play in the NFL? Whenever you get that question and you say anything past 3 or 4 years, they'll be like, oh, wow, like you had a long career, because the average is 3 or 4 years. If you play 10 years plus, you looked at like a rarity. Like that don't happen for a lot of players. And I think it's the same thing with marriage. When you say, I've been married 3 or 4 years, the people who haven't been married before will look at it like, man, that's a long time. But them people who've been married for like 25 years, like, oh, y'all still a baby to this.
Yeah.
And I say that because I was on a flight the other week with a couple who had been married 46 years. And I felt like a baby to them. They're like, how long you been married? I'm like, going on 8 years. And they was like, oh, you a baby in this. And I'm like, oh, a baby.
I was a pro. I thought we was getting somewhere.
I thought we was somewhere. But I just sat there that whole flight asking them questions about how did you make it to 46? Are there any times you look back and said to yourself, well, man, I'm glad we didn't give up on this moment, because look where we're at now. So I was just sitting there and just soaking in game, because I don't feel like we have a lot of elders that we can learn from who really did this. Because 8 years in, like I said, we think we done been through it all, but they probably seen some stuff that they can give us the foresight on what to expect year 10, year 15, so that we can overcome those challenges.
So moving right along to our message from a real one.
All right, let's get into this. It says, I just went through a breakup after Valentine's Day, took her to Mexico, went through the phone because her ways have been changing. I've seen some flirting and future link-ups with a guy she's been with in a sexual relationship before. I'm not perfect, and I haven't been entertaining women on that level, just flirting. Is this forgivable? Just can't get past the disrespect, but I love the girl. I'm confused. She also has 3 kids, and I don't have any.
That's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah.
I would first say that I understand the hurt that he may feel noticing the messages that she was sending to someone that she was sexually involved with, and I guess planning to meet back up, seeing that it would hurt, right? But he also mentioned like she flirts and he flirts, right? And so I think that it's kind of like you're downplaying, like, oh, I wasn't doing it to that level. If she didn't cross that level yet, but I guess he's saying like intended to.
Yeah.
Either way you look at it is wrong.
Right.
If you're in a relationship with that person, there shouldn't be any flirtation at all.
Right.
So I feel like we don't really know what is calling, because to me, it sounds like a disconnect on both ends. Because if you're truly invested in your partner, if you're truly wanting to satisfy them and only them and be with them, you're not looking to entertain or flirt with other individuals. So there's clearly a disconnect for both of them, that you feel as though it's okay to casually flirt with anyone other than your partner. Yeah. So I think you have to really unpack as to why that is happening to begin with on both ends. And then also, like I said, understand like it shouldn't be a comparison or a competition kind of going into today's discussion where it's like, oh, well, I didn't get to that level. You know, I was just doing a little bit of flirting on the side, but it ain't like I was about to meet up with shawty. Yeah. It's like, no, it shouldn't be happening either way. Yeah. So I think they can definitely get past it. I understand that he may be hurt and, you know, maybe his pride hurt a little bit because like, dang, you about to go meet up with your ex, whatever. But it's just like, you can get past it because those boundaries of her actually getting physical, I'm guessing didn't happen. Right. But a lot of things will have to change on both ends, and a lot of boundaries need to be set and clear of this is not cool at all. We're not going to do this at all. We're going to, you know, only entertain each other, only flirt with each other. We're not going to talk to other people or do certain things so that you know moving forward what is acceptable and what's not acceptable. Yeah.
I mean, I agree with everything you just said. In fact, I'm going to look my man directly in the camera and say something to you. And I want you to write this down, type it in your phone, do something. But I just need you to hear this word that I have for you. You can't get mad when your girl decides to get all the way in the pool just because you decided to only put your feet in. You got a problem with what she's doing, get out the pool. Otherwise, you can't hold her to a certain standard and say, well, I'm not doing it the way that you're doing it, or I didn't take it to this level. You shouldn't be doing it at all. Your feet shouldn't be in the pool at all. Because if she decides to cannonball in because she's mad about the way that you treating her, because she probably has never spoken on what she saw you doing, don't mean she don't know. Women know how to move in silence. They know how to keep things seeming like they normal, but she really know what you're doing. Especially if she has been complaining to you about it for a long time and you ain't changed. A woman definitely knows how to move in silence. And I don't condone none of that. I feel like two grown people in a relationship should be able to talk about the things that they're going through in their relationship. But I'm telling you, the capabilities, the abilities of women to move in silence. So if you have a problem with her cannonballing into the pool, get your feet out the pool, man. And do this the right way.
Yeah. That was a good analogy.
Thank you. I don't know why it came to my mind. I'm just like, oh, you can't. Come on, man. Like, you know, when you write when you wrote this, not saying you shouldn't write this at all, but you know what you were putting down here is crazy. Like, just because you didn't take it to her level, but you still out here flirting, you still out here not respecting the relationship.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And man, and I'm not talking down on him because I was at a place where I just didn't really know how to carry myself as a man and how to really lead. Because part of being a leader is like you're creating a culture within your household, within your relationship. And if as the leader, you think it's okay for you to go out here and disrespect your relationship, you're setting the tone for the relationship to be disrespected.
Right.
So then you can't complain when you get what you're putting out. If the people you're trying to lead are actually following your lead or they're doing it better than you, because what a leader should ultimately do is create those followers into leaders that can lead better than them.
Mm-hmm.
You're setting the tone. You only put your feet in. You taught her how to swim.
Yeah.
Accept it.
But I also feel like it comes down to, because it's a scenario that I feel like a lot of people probably deal with in different ways as well in your relationship. And it comes down to you as adults being able to have a conversation and setting certain, like I said, boundaries, whereas it's not, oh, I noticed that he's out here flirting. So I'm going to go one up in a sense, and I'm a flirt with, an ex, because it's easy access. I've already been there. I don't have to go out and, try to meet someone new.
Right.
I can go back and flirt with my ex, and then, we can meet up and do whatever the case may be, because I'm hurt or I'm upset by what he's doing.
No, right.
I feel like as adults, that we need to take accountability for our actions. One, if you are flirting, like you said, you shouldn't be doing that.
Right.
It's not, oh, well, I didn't go that far, I shouldn't be doing it. But also from her, it should be, you know what, I'm not going to tolerate you doing this. I'm going to speak up on it. And if it continues to happen, I can't be in this relationship. It's not that I should go elsewhere and seek, revenge or get a one up or talk to this other person. Is no, I have certain standards. And if you can't respect those standards, if you can't respect me, if you can't go out and, treat me how you would want to be treated in a sense, then we can't be together. Yeah. I don't want to operate like that. And I think a lot of people do that, like I said, in different aspects of their relationship, where it's like, oh, this person does this to me, I'm going to have to do this. Or I notice it, but let me do this on the side so I feel better about what's going on. It's no. Sometimes you have to have that hard conversation, regardless of if you want to be with that person or not. If this is not what I want, and you can't meet those needs of being respectful and only entertaining me and not going out and flirting, then you don't need to be in a relationship. And I don't want to just subject myself to that type of treatment. Right. So I really think it boils down to having those tough conversations. Yeah. And if it's not for you, it's not for you. Not try to make it work by doing something that's going to get revenge, because all that is going to lead a snowball effect. And then you notice that now he feels some type of way, he's going to do something else. Then you're going to do something else. And then it's a back and forth.
Yeah. And I think making decisions out of hurt will end up hurting you more. Yeah. Because let's just say you have a certain type of values where when you're in a committed relationship, you're committed. You're not into messing around with different women or messing around with different men. But then you find out your partner did you wrong, and then you step outside the relationship instead of saying, hey, man, this crossed my boundary. Yeah. I can't be in this relationship because I have a certain type of resentment towards you, and it makes me want to go hurt you back. Right. Instead of having that conversation, you go out and try to hurt your partner by doing what they did and trying to do it better than what they did, but you end up going against your values. So now you got to deal with the pain of your partner hurting you and betraying you, to now you got to deal with betraying yourself. And when you betray yourself, that pain is way worse than anybody else betraying you. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, you're supposed to protect yourself. And when you operate like that, when you move out of hurt and you start to try to get your partner back, you're going to hurt yourself. So again, like you said, those type of tough conversations where you set the boundaries, when you let the partner know what your values is, what you can and can't do, because everybody can't recover from this type of stuff. And you have to be honest with yourself and say, because I think he said, is this forgivable if that he can't get past the disrespect? Don't try to force a relationship if you know you can't get past the disrespect. at all, because all you're going to do is take out that resentment towards your partner for betraying you throughout the relationship. You basically wasting your time and your partner's time.
Yeah. Well, getting into today's topic, you guys, we are discussing it's not a competition.
Yeah.
In your relationship. This idea of the discussion stemmed from, of course, you going to the Dr. Phil show and a conversation that
everybody don't know about that. So
okay. So let's just roll it out, because if y'all don't know, so last week, well, I think a little bit before last week, but Devin had got invited to be on the Dr. Phil show, right? And it was funny to me because hearing him discuss it, he was like, "Oh, I thought this was like." I didn't think this was real at first. Like you said, you got the email, you thought, oh, somebody trying to set me up. They trying to do this, that, and the third, because you didn't think it was real, because there was actually a time where you watched the Dr. Phil show like faithfully, like it was your morning routine. Like you'll wake up, get your breakfast or your coffee, whatever the case may be, sit down and watch it and study the show. And you had said something about being on the show. And I remembered it. So when you did say something to me initially about, them wanting you to come on the show, I was just like, wow, like this is really a full circle moment to witness, because I remember you sitting there doing that and saying that.
Yeah.
And for this to come, which it seemed like came out of left field, to happen, it was just so mind blowing to me, because it was just like, wow. And I had said to you, and I said to myself, I was just like, it's so amazing to witness that, because I saw the growth and the progression that you put in since leaving football into finding yourself and reinventing yourself. And to me, I can't say for you because I wasn't in your shoes, but to me, witnessing...
You was in my bed, though.
How did that fit? To me, witnessing that journey, it felt like, oh, he's arrived.
Yeah.
Right? Not saying that it's not so much more for you to do, but he's arrived in this position where you literally studied. You literally did the research. You got the schooling. You put the content out there. You know what you're talking about, and someone notices it. Yeah. Especially someone that you put in the atmosphere that I want to be on the show and to do this. I want to talk and have this dialogue and be this person, and to actually sit in that seat and be that person. I was just like, wow. Yeah. It was amazing to witness.
Yeah. I think the best part about it is because 3 years ago I did talk to you. I think it was like 3 or 4 years ago when I was doing my morning routine of watching Dr. Phil. I told you that one day I was going to be on Dr. Phil, that I was getting ready for them to have that. I didn't know when it was going to come, but I knew it was. And you never shot me down. I don't think that you understand how not that many of men have women in their life that they can tell their dreams to, and their women don't shoot them down. Like everything I have told you about. I said, I want to go back to school, get my MBA. Go ahead, babe, you can do it. Hey, Asha, I want to start speaking and make tens of thousands of dollars. Go ahead, babe, you can do it. Hey, Asha, I want to go to Penn. I want to go to this Ivy League program. Go ahead, babe, you can do it. I want to launch this podcast with you, Asha, and I think it can do this, that, and the third. Go ahead, babe, we can do it. Like every single dream or every goal that I've had in my life since meeting you, I've told you about, and you have done nothing but champion me and support me. And I understand how precious that is, because I know how many men get shot down.
Yeah.
Because the woman doesn't believe. Whether it is right or wrong that the woman doesn't believe, the fact that I have somebody in my corner that I can say, I want to do this, and you like, all right, let's do this. It means the world to me, because I know a lot of men don't have it, and I don't take that for granted. That's why when things like this happen, like as soon as I got off the stage, you remember I was trying to call you before I went on the stage. I'm like, babe, come on, answer your phone. But I know you're running around with the kids, but I just wanted you to pray for me. Because when you got a praying wife, it hit different.
Yeah.
Like it hit real different. There are times where you prayed for us and we done had a breakthrough. I felt like I couldn't get to God, like he wasn't trying to hear me. And then next thing you know, you pray and it's like, oh, here you go.
Yeah.
This is my daughter. You know, she my favorite anyway. So I'm gonna go ahead and send y'all that blessing. But I wanted to talk to you so much before I went on stage because that's how important you are in my journey in life. The first person I called when I got off the stage was you. Because I wanted you, because you couldn't be there, I wanted you to feel like you were there. I wanted you to tell the detail. And the moment I opened up my mouth, Asha, I kid you not, when I'm telling you this, when I'm inside the dressing room and you have this big smile on your face and you like dancing in the background while you holding the phone, I was like, man, thank you, God. Like seriously, because a lot of times in relationships, I know we're talking about having a competition in a relationship, people hide the good things that happen to them because they know deep down inside their partner not really happy for them.
Yeah.
Because it didn't turn into a competition. Y'all trying to see who can do better at life instead of coming together and see how y'all can do better at life together. So the fact that I have somebody that I can call and is extremely excited for me, you helped me relive that moment.
Yeah.
That's the good thing about having positive relationships in your life, your positive spouses. When I got off that stage, I was able to relive that moment, although I was no longer in the moment because of the way that you reacted, the questions that you asked me. And I'm just thankful for that because like I said, I know a lot of people don't have that, or even, I know I'm getting long-winded, but I'm just thinking about everything that you've done. When they first reached out to me and they said they wanted me to come on there and talk about the topic of relationships, the first thing I said, let me talk to my wife about it. And I called you and I said, babe, listen, I turn this down if they only want me because we started this together. So we going to go on that stage together. And you said, Devin, no.
Yeah.
Number one, I ain't ready for that stage. But this is something you always dreamed about.
Yeah.
And I want you to get on there. And I was like, man, what is it about this woman?
You know, it's like I said, I feel like it's a blessing because I get to witness, I want to say, like your second chance at life, right? And we had this discussion before where I said, I didn't know you when we were younger. So I didn't get to see the struggle and the journey that you went through to get to the NFL. You know, the injuries that you overcame, the things that you had to go through when you were in college to get to that moment for you to be that all-star athlete that you was and to get into the NFL, right? And so from that point of your life where it left off of me entering into it, it seemed like it was a lot of storms.
Yeah.
And I was just like, in a sense, I felt bad because it was like hearing your story, hearing all the things that you went through to get to this moment, only to, in a sense, have it taken away.
Yeah.
And not really live out those dreams that you worked so hard for. And I felt bad because it's just like, I don't know what that's like, but for someone to actually have it in their hand so close and to lose it, it has to be heartbreaking.
I think J. Cole said something about that. I can't remember the line. It was like, is it better to never get it or to have it and lose it? It sucks, to be honest with you. That to feel like you have the world in your hands, that you finally arrived and then it's gone.
Yeah.
It's a different type of feeling versus somebody who never felt it before. Because you was like, man, I probably shouldn't have got it anyway. Or I was never going to get it. But the fact that you touched it, it was there, you smelt it, you tasted it, you felt it. And then it to be gone in the blink of an eye, bro, that's a, I can't say it's a pain that you can explain because I've explained it to you before. But I think it's the type of pain that you only share with the people closest to you.
Yeah.
Because it's crazy.
Yeah, it's hard. And I witnessed that. So, and seeing you transition over the years to making that exit and pivoting and going in this new direction with your lives and trying to really ground yourself in what it is that you wanted to do, I was happy that I was able to witness that journey because I believed in you. I'm like, for someone to get to that level in their career, to go through all of that, and we know that I ain't even want to say everybody, most people aren't going to make it to the NFL.
Yeah.
So to get to that level, you had to be passionate. You had to be driven. So I knew that you had something in you that was different, that was going to keep you pushing, that perseverance, that grit. And so
go ahead and speak that positive psychology language.
I didn't look at your exiting that part of your life as a downfall or a failure. It was a setback, but I knew that it was preparing you for your comeback in the long run, right? Mm-hmm. And I was happy that I was able to witness that growth in that journey, because I knew that you had so much more potential, that I knew the man outside of the uniform. Mm-hmm. And I knew that everybody that's in that uniform one day is going to have to hang it up. Right. And a lot of people aren't able to reinvent themselves. They aren't able to have or find their identity outside of them being on that field. And so me seeing you going through that and saying, you know what, you're not just a football player. You're so much more than that. Mm-hmm. So now we have the opportunity to go this journey and really see who Devin Still is, the man, and to see you evolve. And I've literally seen that and witnessed that. And so I look at it, I feel like I'm getting emotional. But
why you trying to hide your emotions?
Because it's like a wave. Oh my gosh. But it's like I look at it as like being a mom and being a nurturer, right? And I see so many women, I'll say on social media, saying, I'm not his mom. I'm not about to do this, that, and the third. But when you're a true nurturer, it doesn't matter if it is your spouse, your children, or the people around you, the community, you want to pour into them. Mm-hmm. Like just like if you have a plant, you want to pour in it to see it grow so that you can harvest and use what that plant is there for. Mm-hmm. And that's how I look at our relationship as you as my husband. Is not, being a mom. I'm a true nurturer. I want to nurture and water the seeds that you have within you, because I see your potential and I want that to grow. I don't want to dim the light that you had within you. I don't want to not help you, because that's what a helpmate is for. And so many people get so lost in what they think a wife or a spouse is supposed to be, and don't really try to better that person they're with. And I saw how broken you were. I saw how hurt you was. And I'm like, this is my opportunity to really come in and help him build and realize that he's so much more. And that your potential doesn't have to just end when you walked away from your career or you hung up your uniform. It's just the beginning of a new opportunity. So that's why I say it's like your new life or you being reborn, because this is completely different from the man that you was before, the road that you was walking down.
We got a podcast talking about relationships.
Listen, but it's just like the work that you're doing now is so impactful. It's changing so many people's lives. And I even said to you, I'm like, damn, I can see you as a doctor, like Dr. Still, because
Dr. Still, Dr. Phil, that thing wrong, girl. I like the way you talking.
No, but I do, because I've seen the growth. Like, I don't think a lot of people see the potential. And you talked about this with me, but I don't think a lot of people see the potential in their partner the way that they should. Yeah. Right? When you're with somebody, you should be wanting them to better themselves just as much as you're bettering yourself, because y'all are here. Y'all are a team. So when I'm looking at you, I'm not looking at it like, oh, dang, he's doing this or he's doing that. I'm looking at like, dang, he could be doing this. Yeah. Because look at how much he's grown. Yeah. And if I'm sitting up here pouring into you and nurturing you and letting you know, like, you can do that. Yeah. I don't care if nobody else is saying it. And if you doubt it, I'm still going to say you can do it, because I've seen your growth and I've seen your journey and I see your dedication, your hard work. So whatever it is that you want to do, you can do it. And I'm going to help you get there.
Yeah. It's crazy because, like I said, you are a different, I won't even say you're a different type of woman. Because I don't want people to listen to this and be like, well, I don't have that in me. Mm. I want to dive a little bit deeper into this conversation and ask you, how much does how I treat you play into your commitment and your willingness to speak life into me? And I'm asking this because often, I was listening to a podcast the other day of another NBA player, and he was talking about, man, like when you retire, that woman going. Once you ain't getting the bag like you used to, she gonna move on to the next one. And when you talk about sports, you see that happen a lot. But a question I have is, how did you treat this woman when you were at the top? Because how you probably treat her at the top is how she's going to treat you when you're at the bottom.
Yeah.
If you respect her when you're at the top, when you can have whoever you want, when you're making all this money, when everybody's focused on you, if you treat her bad when you don't have it no more, she gonna treat you bad. She gonna leave you. So how important was it back then, and how important is it now that how I treated you when I was in the league, when I was at the top of the mountain, is how you responded to when I was at the bottom, trying to figure things out? Or even now, how I treat you as I'm reaching all these different goals, how does that affect your willingness to support me the way that you support me?
I'm going to be honest. I feel like in life, how people treat you in general is most of the times how you're going to, in a sense, return the treatment for them. When someone, it's easy, for you to be supportive and be loving to someone who you're getting that from. So it does play a huge part. But for me, I think it comes down to my morals and values and my own life experience.
So you definitely are rare. Okay.
No, but I'm saying it comes down to me as a person. Only I say that because I've experienced a life where I didn't have that support. And I realized that had I had that support or that encouragement, that I would have reached certain levels in my life that I'm now just reaching or trying to reach a lot sooner. And so I've always carried myself or been that type of person to be encouraging or to say, you know what, if you're going through a hard time, don't get down on yourself. I've always been that person to want to uplift somebody else because I know what it's like not having that. And when you truly have the support of someone, even if it's just one person, you can do amazing things because it's like, dang, in the moments where I'm doubting myself, in the moments where I'm discouraged, I know I have this person that's going to, back me up and say, nah, you can have a moment, but we're going to keep pushing because you can do it. And I know lacking that for myself, it's like I never wanted to be that for somebody else. And I definitely don't want to be that for my spouse. So granted, like I said, from the beginning, you have been an amazing boyfriend, husband when it comes to how you treat me.
She said amazing, not perfect, y'all. I ain't perfect. Two different things.
No, but you have, like, you've always been very attentive and like just my needs and how you take care of me. Like, we know there's been times where we had our disconnect because of things that we were going through. But even during that time, I said there was glimpse of you still trying to be there to support me, still trying to, encourage me or love me, even if it was just an ounce because that's all you had to give. So it's like, yes, it does matter how that person shows up for you because it's going to be hard for anybody if you feel like, oh, I want to pour into my partner, but they treat me bad or they don't show like they truly love me. They're doing this, that, and the third. It's going to be a challenge. It's not going to be easy for you to wake up and say, you know what, I want to give this person 100%, but they're sitting up here acting like they don't want to be with me.
Right.
No, but like I said, if you truly are a person of that have a certain type of integrity or value about yourself and the way that you are, you don't shake that. Yeah. It's not easy to be moved from your core values. Yeah. And my core values was to be that supportive, nurturing person.
Yeah. You said to me the other day something that meant a lot to me. Because when everything happened, I did a lot of, last week was a very memorable moment in my life for me. A lot of great things happened within the same week. Like I was a moderator for a podcast at South by Southwest. That was my first time ever moderating an event, period. And to do it at South by Southwest was really cool to do. And then I went on the Dr. Phil show. And one thing when I asked you, like, Asha, are you surprised when I do certain things? And you like, nah. Because everything you have told me since I've met you, you've done.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised by that. How much confidence, going back to when we were discussing a man being able to come to his woman and say, hey, I want to do this, I want to do that. How much does my track record over the years of doing exactly what I say I'm going to do, how much of a role does that play in your willingness to support me when I come to you with these crazy dreams?
I think plays a huge role because I've witnessed you say things where a lot of people may look like you're reaching for the stars, and you actually can grab them. You know what I'm saying? Like you've set out to make certain goals, and you've always stuck to them. You always dedicated yourself. It doesn't matter the time frame. You've dedicated yourself to making sure that you reach that goal. And so it makes it easy for me to say, oh, I'm going to support, or I'm going to, encourage whatever it is that you want to do, because you push forward to them. And I think a lot of people that are in a position where it's like, my partner has such big dreams, right?
Doesn't follow through.
Big expectations and big dreams. And it's hard for me to really support or encourage and back them, is because they don't see the work that you're doing to reach those things. Even if it's the smallest thing, right? Like there was a point in time where right after you leaving the NFL, where you was waking up early in the morning, you were sending out emails, you was reaching out to people, you were doing so much groundwork and really trying to like figure out what it was that you wanted to do and how you were going to get there. And to some people, it's like the littlest things that you can do to put you on that track to reaching your goals, you don't do.
Right.
And even that smallest thing as waking up every day and sending that email will have someone to say, you know what? That's dedication. So I'm going to believe in your vision and your goal, even if it's huge and it seems like that's the smallest thing that it takes to reach this goal. But you've been that dedicated into doing this every day. And if someone sees that email, it only takes one response. It only takes one yes or that one positive feedback for it to change your life or change the trajectory of something or to have that breakthrough. And a lot of people aren't able to encourage their partner or see that because they don't see that constant or consistent effort and dedication towards what it is.
Or even that follow through.
Yeah.
Like I think it starts with the small things first. So if you're constantly telling your partner you're going to do the little things and you don't follow through with it, but then you come to them and say you're going to start this big business, or you have this great idea and you're wondering why you're getting pushback or you're not getting the support, is because you have built that by not following through. Me as a man, I take pride in me actually doing the things that I say I'm going to do. That I can come to you and tell you I'm going to do something, it gets done. You come to me and say, babe, we need this. And I say, all right, we're going to do it. It gets done. That's why I'm not quick to, when you tell me something, I'm not quick to be like, all right, yeah, we're going to make this happen. Or we're going to buy this. No, I need to make sure, can I actually do this? Because if I tell my wife we can do it or we're able to do it, I need to make sure we actually do it because I'm trying to build trust between us. I'm trying to just have a type of relationship where you never have to question if I'm capable of doing something or if I'm actually going to follow through with something. So I think if people take pride in the small things, if you say, hey, I'm going to take you out to dinner, I'm going to take you out to lunch, or I'm going to take you to do this, or I'm going to spend time with you doing that, you actually do it because you're building up that trust with your partner, whether you know it or not, so that when you do say you're going to do these big things, they're like, all right, I can trust. Yeah. Because I understand that anything that I do in life, it impacts you. I can't be out here playing around with you, playing around with our family. I have a family to take care of. I can't just walk away from stuff and not have money coming in because we have bills to be paid. Like I understand the severity of me not following through with my word and how that impacts you, it impacts our family. So if people took that approach, I think things would be completely different as far as, a woman or even a man supporting you in a relationship. One of the things that I also saw when we were, discussing or looking up competition in relationships, one of the biggest challenges they say is that the competition comes from a place of insecurity. Mm-hmm. That a lot of times the partner who is excelling and doing good for themselves will often make the other partner feel insecure. Mm-hmm. Have you ever experienced that, or how do you feel like you can avoid being insecure in a relationship when your partner's doing well so that you can stop having a competition?
Personally, I feel like I haven't really experienced it to be insecure.
Insecure, or you have felt insecure?
I haven't felt insecure, but I feel like I take it and use it as a motivation, right? Even when you was talking about coming back from it and we were having a discussion, I was like, dang, I got to get it together. Like, I got to be up there because like you said, you initially said, oh, well, if it's not for both of us, then I'm not going to do it, right? And it was, for me, it's like, when you're in a partnership and you're in a relationship and marriage, y'all are operating as a team, right?
Yeah.
We can't play the same position all the time.
You better say yeah.
We can't play the same position all the time. Sometimes you have to play this position. This comes from
somebody that don't know nothing about sports, but you talking.
And I ain't going to say the actual names.
The position of the sport.
I ain't going to get myself confused. But you can't play that same position.
Yeah.
Everybody is designed to do a certain role, have a certain position, because that's how it operates when you're on a team. And so I realized that, and I realized in ways of me growing and wanting to grow more and needing to grow more, and the work that you've done where you have grown and you're ready for certain things, right? Mm-hmm. When you're in a relationship where you are insecure about your position, that you're holding your partner back. Because you may see that growth in your partner and you may know, oh, they're ready for this, or this opportunity was presented to them and they're ready to take it on. But because you aren't at a certain position, you want to hold them back.
Yeah.
And you're afraid of their growth and you being left behind. Oh, I may not reach my goals. I'm not doing the things that I need to obtain those goals. And I see that they are. And I feel like I can't catch up. So now I want to do something to, bring them back to me. Yeah. So I don't feel so bad about myself. I want you to grow, but not too much, because I don't want there to be distance created. Right. And you don't want to feel bad about yourself, instead of looking at it as that motivation, that extra encouragement to say, dang, like they said they were going to do this. They did this. They reached that goal. They set that goal. They obtained that goal. Down there on to the next one. I'm at this one. Okay, let me see how I can get to this next step. Yeah. And a lot of people don't look at it like that. And like I said, if you're on the same team, you will want for both of y'all to succeed together. You win,
we win.
Exactly.
Period.
So I've never looked at it from that aspect. I always looked at it as extra added motivation or encouragement for what I wanted to do for myself.
Yeah. And I think that the partner who is, reaching these goals can make their partner feel insecurity is a real thing. Like, we look at it in a negative way. Like, it's the person who's actually feeling the feeling. Like, that's your job to fix it. Mm-hmm. Only you can fix your insecurities. But I don't look at it as that. Mm-hmm. Again, you talked about team. That means we can both come together and find out how to solve this problem. Mm-hmm. If you're insecure, let's find out why. Because I tell you all the time, and I would say this on camera, in case anything ever happens in our marriage, you have this as documentation. But I know nothing's going to happen in our marriage. But I would not have the success that I have if it wasn't for Asha. Period. There's no way that I would have been able to bounce back from all the challenges that I faced. There's no way I would have been able to reach the milestones that I've reached the goals that I've reached without Asha. So whatever happens in this marriage, whatever money we make, whatever accolades we get, it's ours, because we did this together. There are times I travel so much on the road. Who do you think is at home watching our kids? Mm-hmm. It's just as much my responsibility to raise our kids as it is yours. Mm-hmm. And if you're making a sacrifice to not be on the road or to do other things, so that you take care of our family, that means that's the only reason I can go out here and do what I'm doing.
Right.
So this is a team effort that we're putting in. A lot of people don't look at it like that. You look at it as, whoa, I must be set. What if something goes bad in our relationship and they're having so much growth and then they just leave me hanging? Mm-hmm. First of all, we're not thinking that because we're doing what we can do to make sure that our marriage is strong. But I let you know, none of this happens without you. Mm-hmm. Because I've been in the valley and you've been there every step of the way to help me climb back to the top. And I've never had nobody in my corner the way that you have been in my corner. So I'm not naive to be like, oh, I'm self-made or I did this on my own. No. Asha was right there with me, speaking life into me, because there's so many times I thought to myself, man, I can't do this. Mm-hmm. These goals that I have is just too big. And I ain't never seen nobody from my environment, from my neighborhood, from my family, do the things that I'm trying to do. Is it possible to even be done? Yeah. And you would say, yeah, you can do it. Mm-hmm. You would talk me off the ledge in the sense of giving up on myself. So I understand that what we've been able to build with each other, and I put an emphasis on we, because I couldn't have done it without you. That shows that we're a team. We make this work. Everybody might not understand what me and you got going on. It don't matter. Yeah. We understand.
Yeah. So. To just conclude this, I feel like you would truly break through that competitiveness, that competition with your partner when y'all are both able to play your position and play it well. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is when you are able to identify your strengths in your relationship or your weakness in your relationship, and y'all are able to operate together and sit down and say, you know what, this is what it looks like for us to have a successful marriage, right? And I'm not just talking about the roles that you're playing, what we talk about, the gender roles or things like that. When you are able to say, you know what, babe, this is our goal that we have in life. This is what it takes for me to get there. This is what it takes for you to get to your goals and what you want to do. And we're supporting each other and we're balancing out each other. And we're not only doing that, but we're holding each other accountable to make sure that we are trying to reach those goals. Yeah. That competitiveness will leave. Right. It won't even be existent because you realize that y'all are both succeeding. And it's not a matter of the time frame or what you may look at as how important it is or what it is that the goal that you're trying to achieve. It's just that I've set out this goal for my life, which is beneficial to our life. And this is how we're going to work towards it together. Then you operate differently. It's not now we're competing, but it's no, we're both in this life, in this relationship together. Right. It's a competition with the outside world, right? We see how other people are operating and we want to succeed over here. Right. We don't want to be in competition with each other. So I think once you really sit down with your partner and have that conversation to say, okay, how are we going to win? What does that win look like for us? Mm-hmm. And how are we going to achieve that together and making sure that we're both on the same page and it's not a, one up or now I feel some type of way about what you're doing or even like you said, the other person is not making the person that is reaching those goals is not making you feel bad about where you're at. Mm-hmm. Y'all are both genuinely concerned about the well-being of each other and the success of each other. Your relationship will operate differently. You would truly be happy for your partner and for their successes, and you won't have to feel bad about wherever you're at because you know that with the support of that person next to you, you're going to reach that goal that you have. You're going to surpass that goal that you set for yourself because y'all are going to pour into each other and encourage each other to actually do that. And so I think that's what we have exhibited in our relationship and will continue to do is if there's things that I want to do, you constantly support me, you constantly encourage me and push me and motivate me and likewise. Yeah. And that's why we are able to break certain barriers and do certain things is because it's not just about self. We're not self-motivated. We're moving together.
I agree. And I hope a lot of y'all have gained some knowledge, insights into how you can make sure that you are building a partnership rather than a rivalry, and you're both supporting the goals of your marriage. So we hope y'all enjoyed this episode.
And until next time, keep it real.
Yes, sir.